All right, we are live today on Confido Legal's LinkedIn, and actually on YouTube and Twitter today as well. This was formerly the Gravity Legal Friday legal case management jam session, but we've since rebranded. So this is the first time we're streaming live on our new under our new brand. It looks like everything worked out, and it's coming through on LinkedIn, so that's good. In the past, we've had some sound issues, but it seems to be everything's the last couple times things have worked well. So we're not going to do any extensive sound checking to bore everyone this time. But if you're listening and you can't hear, definitely drop something in the comments. But today, so super excited to be doing the Friday Jam session with Casita Simpson. So Casita, just a little bit of background before I turn it over to her. She's got over 10 years experience as a paralegal, has worked in legal departments of big corporations and also worked for smaller companies, small law firms. She's the founder and CEO of Simpson and Associates, focusing on CRM design and implementation for law firms, paralegal support, and legal document drafting. So she's worked with dozens of firms, helping them set up and implement their software systems. So really excited to hear what she has to say today. Before I turn it over to her, a little bit of a plug. So Confido Legal, we're really focused on helping law firms find the right legal case management software for them. So if you are curious about what software might be right for you, we have a resource center, confidolegal.com/LCM. And when Casita's talking, I'll take a second to drop the link in the comments. But at this center, we have a database of legal case management software. You can do kind of a worksheet about what's important to your firm and get a free consult. And then we also have an FAQ section about what are the questions or things that you need to you should look at when selecting and also implementing a legal case management system. So check it out, confidolegal.com/LCM. So today for our topic, super excited. We're going to be talking about kind of the journey, the law firm journey from having sort of a cobbled together group of systems, non-legal specific, maybe some kind of free software, going from that kind of setup to a complete legal case management solution, or at least nearly complete legal case management solution. And this is something Casita has helped many firms do and make that transition. Casita, I'll turn it over to you, give you a chance to kind of introduce yourself a little bit in your own words. And thank you so much for being here. I'm excited for the conversation.
Yeah, of course. First of all, thank you for inviting me on the platform. Happy Friday to everyone. My name is Casita Simpson. Like Emery said, I'm the founder and CEO of Simpson and Associates LLC. I have had the pleasure of working with some amazing firms over the course of the past few years with my business and assisting them with just getting from nothing, probably just emails and just keeping files in Dropbox, to just having some type of setup, some type of organization. And I thrive on it and I love it. And I have just had the ability to just take the technology that's out there and just make it shine and just make it work for a particular firm, no matter what it is, no matter their price point. And it's been really cool. It's been a really, really cool experience.
Awesome. Well, so I know you've done a lot of work, a lot of different projects helping firms set up their software. Any stories that come to mind that either maybe illustrate some of the challenges of making this transition from kind of DIY to to more of a complete solution, or some of the opportunities that it presents?
Yeah, for sure. I can say that for sure, making the transition from just having a simple setup from email to Dropbox to then maybe going into something a little bit more simple is always about cost, because at the end of the day, the firm is trying to make sure that they're doing what they can to keep up with the cases that they have, but at the same time, don't spend too much on overhead and expenses to be able to get there. So a lot of the times when I'm consulting and working with firms, it's usually a cost thing, why they haven't pulled the trigger to a complete solution or something a little bit more robust. I noticed that in the beginning, like a couple of firms, they would use maybe a Dubsado or maybe an Asana or one of those platforms that where the price point's a lot cheaper. And then, trying to make it work with that, and maybe a payment processor like maybe Stripe, or even Squarespace, or even just trying to use different platforms like that to be able to make their systems work the way that they want it to. And then finding that maybe starting off with something cheap, like a lower end, like system like Locus, starting off at a lower price point and just having everything centralized ends up being more cost effective and time saving in the long run. A story that I had was there was specifically a gentleman that I was working with, and he had a system that he was using, and it just wasn't complete. Like it did some of the things that he wanted it to do. He was able to keep up with his cases. He was able to keep up with like time entries and things like that. But when it came to sending out campaigns, when it came to tracking ROI, when it came to being able to send out more detailed, robust intake forms, the system unfortunately just couldn't keep up with those capabilities. So after doing some research, I found a system that was able to integrate with the system that he was already using. And it was game changer, because were a lot more robust. They were more detailed. We were able to get the information that we needed. And it just made things move more efficiently within his firm. And without even realizing, we were saving so much time. And I'm always about trying to help the firm get organized and save time. And I think that he didn't even realize, and even being able to track like different platforms where he's been spending money on marketing initiatives and things like that, he was able to save money because he saw which avenues he was using that wasn't really benefiting him or his firm. And I definitely think that case management system helped with that.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. What if someone's listening and they're maybe in that kind of DIY space right now, like what are some of the signs that you've seen that maybe like things are kind of stretched to the breaking point, or maybe, even looking at it like in a positive way, like, signs that there's more opportunity, to kind of upgrade systems and things like that?
First of all, it's a beautiful thing when you've reached to the point that you're like, I need to upgrade. I've outgrown this DIY system. That's a beautiful thing. And, the signs usually look like, okay, well, this person came on board. Where exactly are they at? Like, what exactly did they purchase? Like, how are we tracking this? Like, what we were using to track it, because the volume is now increasing. The systems are not automating in the way that they need to, or maybe an automation broke down and it's impossible to figure out which automation exactly caused the system to not send the triggers that it was supposed to. Like it's simple little things like that that really add up and start to make it like, okay, this is not working for me anymore. I need to get out and abandon ship and find something a lot better. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful thing. You start out, you're a small firm, you just want to get what you need to be able to start working on case files and be able to help your clients. That's the whole point. But through helping clients, you're able to figure out like, okay, well, what are the most important tools that I need to make sure that I'm moving efficiently, so that I am keeping up with client communication, so that I am keeping up with, what my team is doing, KPIs and different things like that. Like it all comes together. And if you're unable to manage like what's going on in your firm, then it's definitely going to be hard to keep it going.
Yeah. Interesting. Last, I guess it wasn't last week. Last time we did the jam session, maybe two weeks ago, we talked about pricing and how maybe firms that are not necessarily growing a lot versus firms that are growing a lot and are experiencing a high degree of growth and are trying to embrace that. should think about pricing in like a completely different way, because they're getting so much more when things are breaking, like the value you get from the software and setting up systems for the future is so much higher in that case. So being willing to, maybe invest a little bit more at that space and maybe get a system that's like even a little bit too big for where you are today, but fits perfectly for, where you want to be, tomorrow.
Definitely. If you have the mindset that you're like, I see the potential of this firm growing to be a lot more than what it is right now, and you have the bandwidth to be able to afford going into something that you could grow into, yeah, do it for sure. And a lot of systems, they start off with a lower price, for you to try it out, and then you can grow into something more. Like, that's the beauty of it. You have the ability to upgrade as you're growing.
Yeah. One interesting sort of transition that we see a lot. So we integrate with a system called Lean Law. It's a really powerful time and billing system. I'm sure you're aware of it. Built on top of QuickBooks. So Lean Law you have to have QuickBooks Online to make to make it work. And we see a lot of people who, firms start out just using QuickBooks basically as their kind of practice management system, obviously non-legal specific, a lot of limitations there. But such a great transition in that case from kind of the DIY QuickBooks ecosystem to making that legal specific through by upgrading to Lean Law. So we experience a lot of firms or witness a lot of firms making that that transition. I think there's quite a few systems that are really good for firms who are coming from a certain place. Like you mentioned Locus, like maybe if you're using something like Dubsado, Locus can be a great sort of upgrade path.
Oh, definitely.
From there. So any other that you can think of, like or ones that you've experienced, like really nice upgrade paths like that? To put you on the spot.
I would say depending on what you need it for, depending on what exactly you're trying to do next, I would say my case would be another good one. Yeah.
Got it. Nice. Yeah, I've heard some really good things about that path as well. So
there's a couple of things in my case that I really enjoy.
What are those things?
So for a firm that has like a practice area of family law, I like the way that they have like relationships with co-counsel and opposing counsel. Like it's all neatly housed in one section of the platform, and it's easy to access and it's easy to get to. And I like their client portal as well. I really do like their client portal. The way that it's situated, you can upload all of your files there, but at the same time, you can pick and choose which files the client is able to access and review, and you're able to securely send documents and things like that. I mean, a lot of the other systems have it too, but there's a certain way that my case does it that I just think is very, very neat.
Yeah. Nice. What other than the cost of software, I'm curious, like what are some of the other like barriers that you see or hesitations firms have when they're like, I've picked all these different things because they're like, basically free, and I've cobbled this together. Obviously we talked about price, but like what else? Like what are the other?
Yeah. So when it's not price at issue, technology, believe it or not.
Yeah.
We stick to certain things that are easy because it's been tried and true. It's been an industry standard. It works because there's maybe a lot of information on how to move through the technology properly, or maybe even it's a situation where it's just simple. It's very, very simple. And so that works. Then you get into something that's a little bit more robust where you can do custom fields and intuitive intake forms with condition logic and different things like that. You can map it to your website. You start to get into things like that. And it's like, whoa, like
Mhm.
we're moving way too fast for me right now. Like, let's,
Yeah.
let's slow this down a bit. This isn't working out.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. Um,
I've definitely come across that.
yeah. Interesting. Um, I've seen law firms, they have maybe a great team in-house, and they are able to really implement software, very well themselves.
Mhm.
I've seen firms that also have a great team in-house, but that don't have the expertise to like implement systems. What do you think are like what should a firm be thinking about to decide, like, should I get help implementing a new system, or can I do it, basically do it myself with the team I have?
I think it's up to the user, it's really going to come down to if you know that you struggle with technology and there's someone on your team that excels at it, allowing them that ability to try to help the firm out in any kind of way that they can. And doing tests, it's important to definitely conduct tests to make sure that like whatever has been implemented is actually working. And from there, if it's something simple where you've built an intake form but you can't locate that intake form, like
Mm-hmm.
can't find it, that
Yeah.
too. If you built an intake form to do an automation and the automation never happened, but you received the intake form, that's
Mm-hmm.
that's another sign, that's an indicator.
That's not working.
Or even when you're like, you're trying to put in notes and you're expecting it to trigger an automation, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Set it up, that's a trigger. So it's little things like that. But if you're doing tests and you're like, okay, everything's working fluid and it's working fine, then you're on the right track. You can continue doing it your way for sure. And then there's definitely support in all kinds of resources that you can reach out to for sure. I'm on YouTube. I have videos up there for different systems and things like that. So there's definitely ways if you struggle, and then always feel free to reach out and consult with someone if it's really that bad where no one on your team can assist. There's definitely support out there that can consult, implement, make everything work the way that it needs to. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
join your team, maybe do some maintenance. Those are definitely things that I offer, but like there's different ways that you can go about it if it's something that is not working, like you're troubleshooting and it's not working. I know that Locus is really good about responding. They have a chat box that they like, if something's going on, they'll chat with you pretty quickly, and you can always email them as well and they'll get back to you. So there's definitely resources out there. I know that My Case has a phone number where you can call them and they'll answer your questions and things like that. So there's support for sure. Don't struggle with it. If it's automation is broken, definitely reach out to someone if you've advanced into one of these systems. And that's also the beauty of having these systems, is that you have real-time support if something's going on, and they're mostly aware of what the practice areas are to kind of guide you in the right direction. When you're
Mm-hmm.
doing DIY, that's something that's a little lacking, because if it's not meant to be used in that way, you're reaching out to support and you're not really getting the help that you need exactly for that specific issue.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, you're getting like support people who are like, calling your clients patients. So yeah, it's definitely pretty comforting to have someone who speaks the language and knows the
Yeah.
practice areas.
Yeah. That's another benefit of just slipping into something a little bit higher in price. You don't have to be crazy right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and having like that whole team of people who built the software and know the complete solution, as opposed to you having to explain that you've got this system connected to that system and this system and have some automation. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think going back to the implementation piece, there are many companies out there that support like Salesforce implementations, and big software implementations. But I think one thing I've learned over the past year, especially, is there's some great resources, you and your company, obviously one of them, that support smaller firms in the process of implementing these systems, and you can get help that's like, that's amazing and cost effective for, even for a solo firm to set up really powerful systems. And it's not, you don't have to do it all alone.
You don't have to swim off the deep end without a life jacket.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll extend that life jacket to you pretty quickly.
But some firms, they love it. Like that's like really fun for them. They're they've got a team that's super tech savvy, and it's kind of like a fun thing to implement new systems. But a lot of them, definitely don't know that there's help out there. So
yeah. You know what I will say too, though, is that even the ones that have tech savvy internal teams, they still sometimes go for outside support because of bandwidth. Sometimes it's about like the ability to get to that thing and to be able to make that thing the way that it needs to be. Sometimes the time is just not there, especially if they're a growing firm. Yeah, for sure. So that tech savvy person probably they're moonlighting as being tech savvy, but really they're the paralegal or the office manager or the legal assistant, and they have other things that they now need to be dealing with.
Yeah. So yeah, as we're kind of getting towards the end here.
We got there really fast.
It's Friday. We can't go over on a Friday. But, as we're kind of getting closer to the end, speaking to that firm that's maybe trying to decide, like, should I upgrade? Should I not? Do I need a case management system? Like, what have we not covered that you've seen, would be, kind of helpful information for a firm looking to sort of make that decision, is now the right time? So,
wow.
Again, to put you on the spot.
You're doing that often. If I had to say anything else that would be an indicator, I think honestly it would be client communication and follow-up. I know I like kind of grazed over it a little bit, but really that's a key indicator. Like if your team isn't able to be fluid and aware of what's going on internally and who to follow up on when and what the status is within your systems that you have now, it's definitely time to upgrade. And it's not a good sign from the outside looking in that your team isn't aware of each thing, especially this person's calling and then this person also calls, or, sending out duplicate emails and things like that. Or maybe even it's just simple as making a follow-up call and not having the right notes in front of you for that particular matter to be able to indicate what exactly is going on. Is definitely a time. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome. And we actually we have a question from the comments that I'll put you on the spot again with. These aren't pre-planned questions, folks. So it's a question came in. So what case management systems are most rapidly advancing in their use of AI? And are you impressed with any of those efforts? So, and just to in case anybody's watching this, just to reset, we're talking kind of back office tools here. We're not talking about your like document drafting or tools that sort of augment the practice of law. We're talking about tools that facilitate the business of law. Your typical kind of case management type software solution. So, and I think when talking about AI, there's definitely differences there in progression and whatnot. So, anyways, to put you on the spot, Casita, anything that you've seen that you're impressed with out there, or is it all just a lot of hype?
I wouldn't say that it's all hype. I do think that all the systems are really trying to make great strides in having AI be a part of their systems and have it be cohesive and synergized and things like that. But I would say that right now, Lawmatics. I was Lawmatics right now because they're often sending out communications. They're often sending out updates. They're often working on making AI a part of it. And they're also trying to get the community involved as well in being informed on the different things that they're doing and changing where AI is concerned. I've been working on building up some things in their system with where AI is concerned. So it's funny that this person is asking about that. So hopefully in the new year, I'll be able to start talking about that on the YouTube platform. But yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So stay tuned on the YouTube platform. I really hope I'm not gonna get in trouble for this, but I think knowledge. There's a platform called Fidu that is focused on facilitating subscription legal services, and really that kind of interaction between the firm and the client, to really take the relationship from a reactive kind of the typical, like, here's a problem, and I'm going to help solve that, to like, how can we create like a proactive client relationship, which I think is really cool. And the platform allows clients to communicate, through it. As you're probably well aware of this, but background for everyone else. And they just launched an AI tool that basically helps you take the data that you have in Fidu, your documents, your information, that you've stored in there, and I think suggest responses and things like that to clients when they're, who are on these subscription services coming in. So we actually we have a financially legal podcast episode coming out soon with Kim Bennett, the founder of Fidu, one of the co-founders of Fidu, and she talks a little bit about that. So a little preview for that coming out.
I think it's so funny that you mentioned Fidu, though, because I've recently been having the opportunity to dabble in that with a client of mine, and trying to build out some things in there. And one of the cool things that I like, as to what you were mentioning, is slipping in a document and then having it help you build out a questionnaire. That's one of the things that it does, and I think that's pretty neat in terms of like what you're getting in the end, and it speeds up time, and anything that tries to help you speed up time, I'm there for. And I like how intuitive it is, and you can have like a client portal and load it up with different videos and things like that to have a really nice welcoming experience. So for a like a document generating system, I think it works.
Yeah. Sounds good. So maybe to try to summarize, some cool features all around, but nothing that's really transformed the legal case management landscape yet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we are at time. Casita, what how can listeners find out more if they if they maybe are in that space where they want to upgrade and they also want help upgrading?
Yeah, many ways. You can definitely go to my website, simpson-assoc.com. You can fill out the contact form and get in touch with me there. I can probably share a link. I don't know if we can do that in here, but maybe not. Can we?
You can drop it in there, and it'll go out to some of the platforms. But we'll need to manually put it, I think, on LinkedIn.
Okay, so I'll manually send it over to you so that you can distribute it, so you can have it. But for now, you can definitely go to the website or check out the YouTube channel, CAS Loves Tech, and you'll be able to find me and watch the videos concerning, building out systems and answering questions and things like that.
Awesome.
Fun. I enjoyed this.
Well, perfect. It is so awesome to connect again. I always enjoy talking to you about it and hearing your battle stories from helping law firms improve their technology. So I'm sure we'll do this again sometime. And for everyone out there, have a great Friday and a great weekend. So
yes, have a great weekend. Bye, guys.